The Silent Lullaby. Chapter 1. The Unsettling Welcome. I stepped out of the taxi, my heart pounding in sync with the rhythmic drumming of the raindrops on the pavement. Elmwood Street was a quiet oasis, lined with old oak trees and houses that seemed to whisper secrets to one another under their shrouded roofs. My new home, 1313 Elmwood, a quaint Victorian mansion built during the era of grandeur and mystery, towered over me like an imposing sentinel. As I dragged my luggage up the stone path, the wind carried whispers only audible to my ears. The realtor had assured me it was characterful, but now it felt sinister in the gloom. With every creaking step inside, memories of shattered glass and a broken heart seemed to settle like dust behind me. I yearned for solitude and anonymity here, far from prying eyes and the echoes of my past. The musty air inside was heavy with silence, thick as a curtain that needed brushing away. In the living room, raindrops traced paths down the stained glass windows, casting a dappled glow over the polished oak floors. Shadows danced in corners where no moonlight should be, beckoning me to investigate. The realtor mentioned some quirks, but never spoke of haunted walls. In the darkness, I settled with a bottle of wine and my thoughts, listening as the house hummed its own tuneless melody. An ethereal lullaby. At first, I dismissed it as the wind or the old house settling. But when night fell and the rain let up, the song persisted, weaving itself into my dreams. On the second morning, sipping coffee by the window, I noticed it was no longer there. The silence stunned me, a vacuum that felt heavier than any noise could be. Then came an abrupt whisper, soft as a sigh. Lise, like a child's first word, yet not quite right. I spun around. Empty rooms reflected back at me. It purred through the walls once more, 10 sleep. Shivers crept down my spine. I sought solace in books and journals to drown out these strange beginnings, but one volume caught my eye amidst dusty shelves. The Elmwood Testament was etched on its cover, a title that made no sense. I pried open the cover to find aged pages filled with handwritten verses, each line inscribed with an unsteady hand. Least 10 sleep. Listen and learn. In shadowed halls where ghosts reside, dare not speak of things inside. The ink bled as if tears had written these lines. The author remained anonymous, but it seemed the house already knew my name. A hidden room behind a sliding panel revealed more cryptic messages scrawled in blue, each one echoing those strange, midnight whispers. Beneath the floorboards, they commanded, before trailing off. I ventured down to investigate and found nothing. Yet as I stood there, bare feet sinking into the carpet, an icy draft caressed my legs. The wall behind a bookshelf slid open with a groan, revealing a hidden space filled with volumes and parchment scrolls. In hushed tones, they spoke of Elmwood's secrets, lives lived and lost within these walls. An insidious curiosity took hold as I pulled out the first manuscript. The Whispering Walls. As my fingers touched the aged paper, I thought I heard the lullaby again. Least 10 sleep. Chapter 2. The Echoing Whispers. Days blurred into weeks, with each passing dawn bringing new mysteries. The haunting melody vanished, but other disturbances emerged. Doors creaked open at night, and objects shifted on their own. A muffled voice whispered in my sleep, calling out to the children of Elmwood, a phrase that sent me scurrying for more answers. I confided in John, my closest friend, hoping his skepticism would ground me back into reality. Over beers, he proposed an investigation. Our curiosity overrode caution. His research led us to the local library and a dusty archive hidden behind a bookshelf. The oldest record spoke of Elmwood's history, a family torn apart by obsession and madness. Edward Witherington, the house's original occupant, was accused of unspeakable acts under moonlight. A photograph showed him with eyes that seemed to hold a world of sorrow. A dark figure watched us from the corner of my lens when I snapped it. John laughed it off as a trick of the light. But there were things unseen in these walls. Shadows that moved, watching me. I couldn't shake the feeling they'd been waiting for years, silently counting down to something. At night, after John's departure, I tried to focus on my own work, but was drawn to Edward's study where portraits watched with glassy stares. In a hidden compartment of his desk drawer, a single sheet bore an entry. The darkness within is patient. Shadows danced at the corner of my vision. I turned around. No one was there. John's visit brought news. A child had gone missing in Elmwood that year, not far from now. The police case file mentioned an EW suspect. Withington was never charged. That night, as rain pounded against the windows, voices joined the lullaby, lease and sleep. My eyes refused to close when a draft swept through and pages fell from the bookshelves, each containing fragments of Edward's journal. They hinted at rituals performed under full moons, in rooms now sealed shut or destroyed. I couldn't ignore it anymore. Beneath my bedroom window, a small chamber was exposed with cryptic symbols etched into its walls. Moonlight painted the room silver as John helped me decipher them. The Keeper of Secrets, ancient text, spoke of awakening what should remain silent. We pored over Edward's journals until dawn. The lullaby had returned, haunting me. The words echoed from within. I awoke to find his face in my window, pale and wet-eyed. Sarah, it was real. As I turned, he vanished into the rain-soaked night. His car was gone when I reached it outside, his phone ringing with no answer. The house watched me, its secrets unfolding like an evil flower. Chapter 3. The Silent Confession. I clutched my journal in a shaking hand. Shadows coalesced around me as I approached the mirror. A figure emerged from the glass. My doppelganger. It reached out with pale fingers as I screamed. John held me down, eyes wide. Sarah, wake up. The dream? The darkness seeping into my mind? As reality returned, John's grip remained tight around me. But what he saw made his breath catch. In the mirror, behind me, stood the second Sarah, mouth agape, reaching for my own reflection with a gaunt hand, skin pale as the dead. I turned to confront her and found nothing. A sigh escaped my lips, but then there she was, inches from me. Shadows converged on us, both as one figure reached out. John's hold tightened. The room grew cold. Sarah's eyes pleaded for help before disappearing into a swirl of darkness that had been waiting all along. In the morning's hush, I read of sacrifices made to awaken things best left sleeping. Edward Witherington and I were bound. His soul needed me to keep his secrets. My reflection bled out of the glass in slow motion as John called my name. The lullaby waned into silence. Shadows dispersed with the sun's rise, leaving us shaken. The hidden room was exposed by morning light. Empty save for a final entry. The keeper has come. Listen well and beware. In shadowed halls where ghosts reside. It ended there. John left, unable to bear what he'd seen. I returned to the journal as if summoned. An unseen force made the ink flow with a hand not my own. The keeper had awoken. In the darkness of that night, John didn't answer when I called out his name. His car door opened and closed again by itself. The house is hungry. Listen well. A scream in the shadows. I am coming for you.